Zippers come in many different sizes, but sometimes you will find that the standard sizes available will not actually match the length that you need for your project. So you'll have to shorten your zippers. Here is how you can do that. You need to figure out how long you need your zipper to be. Most patterns will call for a seam allowance of 5/8 inch. Seam allowance is the extra length of fabric on the edge, because you obviously can't sew right on the very edge or your garment would fall apart. So you sew in to the fabric a bit, and that weighs into the fabric is the seam allowance. And it can be any length. Oftentimes for quilting, it's 1/4 of an inch. And most sewing patterns for clothing are 5/8 of an inch. For the patterns that I make for myself, I prefer to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I would say that the beginning of my zipper is at the 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I will go in here. This marking right here is 1/2 an inch. So I put a little mark right there. And that will be the top of my zipper. So from there, you want the top of your zipper to be this plastic marker right here. Little end right here. That is where you want the end. And I want it to be this line. I already marked it earlier that I'd only wanted it to go down to this little line. So on the zipper, I'm going to make a mark. If you're using invisible ink, I think this is, or disappearing ink, then you'll have to work quickly because it will obviously disappear. So now that I've got that, I'll take you on to the next step. The next step, we can't just cut this off, because if we cut this off without making a tack right here, then when we go to unzip it, this toggle would fall off and it would be pretty difficult to get back on. So I am going to get the sewing machine set up and I'll see you in just a moment. In order to make a bar tack to shorten your zipper, you first will need to set your sewing machine to the biggest zigzag stitch that there is. For my machine, that means that I need to set my zigzag to number 5. Next, you will need to set your stitch length to 0, because you don't want the machine to sew in a line. You want it to sew in place. Once you have set this up, you are ready to begin sewing your new end to your zipper that is too long. Put your zipper face down into your machine so that the line that you drew earlier is exactly under the opening where the needle comes down. Place the presser foot down exactly onto the zipper. And I like to begin by hold onto the thread, and I bring the needle down manually with my hand a couple of times just to get it started. And after that, I just put my foot down on the pedal and sew. All the sewing stays in place. You have no stitch length, so it just sews right over that. And you bring it up, and there you go. Cut your thread off so that you have about 3 inches left attached to the zipper. Take your string and pull. And look, you've pulled this loop out from the other side. And this is a great little magic trick you should know for finishing. So you can pull this loop, see right there? Pull it through. And you just eliminated one of the threads from this side. Now let's eliminate the next one. I'm gonna pull the first one, see if we can get it. When you pull on the green thread, a tiny loop of black thread from the opposite side is going to pull through, so watch carefully. There it went. It's right there. So with a little pin, I'm going to pull a little bit harder to see if I can get, there it goes. See that little tiny black loop? I'm going to stick a pin through the loop and pull. Just like that. And now what we've done is we've taken so that there are no threads poking out right next to the zipper that could cause it to jam later on. And it's these little details that will really make your project a lot more professional and a lot more clean looking. So now that we've got both of those threads on the same side, which is the wrong side of the fabric, I'm gonna take them and tie them together. Just like shoestrings, except not in a bow. I'm just gonna tie them if I can get them apart. Three and 4. There you go. And now we've already backstitched, but I like to do these extra ties because it really ensures that you're not going to have any slipping of your zipper later on. So I'm gonna take my mighty little fiskars here. Love these tiny scissors. And we'll put a link down below to a page where you can find all the different tools that I use. There we go. And that side is perfectly clean now. No threads coming out at all on this side. So you can take these threads that are hanging off of the back and I'll tie them. Just gonna take them and tie them just like you would tie a knot in a shoe. Not a bow, but there you go. Look at that. Tied it 3 times. Maybe I'll give it one more. And then I'll clip these threads. I'm not sure where my nice orange ones went, so we'll just use the scissors from the schoolroom. Whoops. And there you go. That's tied off and ready to be used on your garment. You can let this will all go away, this ink. If you're using an invisible ink, you could use chalk, you could even use Sharpie. This part is usually hidden anyway. But there is a finish. So the last step, if you have pinking shears, that's a much better option, but I don't have those. So I'm just going to use my regular scissors. Make sure you're cutting off the tail, not the beginning. You can give yourself, I would say give about 1 inch because you will use this little extra at the bottom to fasten it down to your to whatever you're sewing. There you go. And I have my lovely assistant Ireland working with me. You want to come say hi, Ireland? And we can show, you can show she's got pink hair today. Here, come around the camera this way.
Hi!
Pink hair, girl. Turn around, let them see the back. It's faded a lot since we've been to the beach and everything. So pretty. Alright, so you're going to help me get things, alright? So...
Are we gonna have music in this?
yeah.
What's it gonna sound like? Is it gonna be my heart will go on?
No.